where even gods hold grudges. At the peak of the world, where the sky brushes the mountaintops and the wind carries the sweet scent of immortality, stands Olympus. A place not just of clouds and thunder, but of gods, eternal, powerful, and once believed to be perfect. The ancient Greeks looked up and whispered in awe, "Our gods dwell there, just, great, and never wrong." But they were mistaken. Olympus was no serene paradise. It was a palace of rivalry, of schemes whispered behind marble pillars, of wounds that never healed. There, Hera could never forgive the countless betrayals of Zeus, each affair a crack in her divine pride. Athena would forever remember the sting of betrayal, wearing her armor not just for war, but for protection from those she once trusted. Poseidon, god of the sea, could not accept a world where he lived in the shadow of his younger brother. And Artemis, fierce proud, still burns with anger over the humiliation of her twin. Each god is a story. Each story, a grudge carved into eternity. And tonight, we will peel back the clouds, one secret at a time, revealing the betrayals, the whispered vengeance, the smiles that hid daggers. To understand one timeless truth. Immortality does not erase resentment. It preserves it. Athena and Poseidon, the endless clash of wit and power. In the dawn of the Greek city-states, one great question echoed through the marble hills. Who was worthy to become the patron god of a rising land called Athens, a young city, bold and hungry for greatness?
Tout divine contendère stepped forward.
Poseidon, god of the sea, fierce, thunderous, and full of untamed power. And Athena, goddess of wisdom, strategy, and calm foresight. Poseidon spoke not with words, but with force. He struck the earth with his mighty trident. From the cracks surged a magnificent warhorse, wild, powerful, built for conquest. A gift any empire would kill to possess. Athena, by contrast, was quiet. She knelt and pressed a single seed into the soil. From it rose an olive tree, offering shade, fruit, oil, and the promise of peace and enduring prosperity. It was not flashy, but it was timeless. After deep deliberation, guided by the wisdom of King Cecrops and the elders, the people chose Athena. Not because they were weak, but because they longed for a future, not just glory. And so the city was named after her, Athens. But Poseidon?
Et never forgo.
The god of the sea, proud and tempestuous, saw the decision as a personal insult. And in his fury he lashed out, with droughts, earthquakes and crashing waves. He could not accept being outshined by a younger goddess. Athena, wise though she was, had her pride too. She never bowed. Never apologized. In some tales, she even mocked his offerings to other cities, or quietly thwarted his designs upon the sea. From that moment on, the two children of Zeus became eternal rivals, locked not in open battle, but in a cold, unending contest of presence and principle. Every gathering on Olympus grew tense when both were near.
Heure-piercing silence.
His scornful glare. Neither would yield. Neither would win. And from a single contest to name a city, the gods had birthed one of mythology's greatest rivalries.
Oui versus force.
Wisdom versus pride.
Athena versus Poseidon. A conflict without end.
Hera and Zeus, a crown cannot mend a broken heart. Hera, the goddess of marriage, a symbol of loyalty and divine honor.
Zeus, the god of thunder, king of the cosmos.
They once loved each other. Once ruled as a divine pair, he the master of sky and storm, she the guardian of family and vows. But love cannot survive under the weight of power and betrayal. Perhaps Zeus did love Hera, but he also loved Leto, and Europa, and Io. He loved countless goddesses and mortal women alike. Each time he turned into a swan, a bull, a shower of golden rain, each time was another crack in Hera's pride. She forgave him. More than once. But forgiveness cannot mend the fractures carved deep in a queen's heart. Her rage was never born of jealousy, but of honor. Every illegitimate child of Zeus was not just a wound, it was a threat. A challenge to her throne.
A danger tout Olympus itself.
And so, Hera struck back, not with lightning but with cunning. The wrath of a wounded goddess is slow, sharp, and merciless. She cursed Leto, forcing her to wander barren lands before giving birth. She turned Io into a heifer and banished her across the world. She haunted Zeus's children, most famously Heracles, whom she tormented from cradle to grave. Zeus retaliated. Once in fury, he chained Hera with golden bonds and hung her in the sky, her wrists weighted with anvils, her dignity stripped. But punishment did not breed submission. It created something else, a political rival.
Love chattered.
Their marriage became a mask. They still ruled Olympus, together in name, but never again in heart. From that day on, every time Hera looked at Zeus, she remembered. She had been a queen, but never truly the woman he loved. And Zeus? When he looked at Hera, he no longer saw a wife, but a storm waiting to strike. Because once you've been chained by the one you love,
You never forget.
Artemis and Aphrodite, beauty and chastity, a war beyond peace. If Aphrodite is the flame of desire, then Artemis is the cold wind of purity. Two goddesses. Two extremes. And between them, no peace has ever existed. Aphrodite, goddess of love, beauty, and seduction, whose gaze melts the hearts of gods and mortals alike. She stirs emotion, sparks wars with a glance, and shatters souls with a sweet promise. To her, love is a weapon. Beauty is a crown.
Then there is Artemis, god of the hunt, the wild, and the moon.
Sworn to chastity, she shuns men and devotes her life to shielding young maidens from the world's desires. To Artemis, love is a trap, a weakness, chains to bind the spirit. Between these two divine powers, respect was never possible. Artemis scorned Aphrodite's flirtations, seeing in her the root of senseless wars and tragic love, like the tale of Phaedra and Hippolytus.
It was Artemis who protected Hippolytus, the mortal who dared reject Aphrodite.
And it was Aphrodite who struck back, making Phaedra, his stepmother, fall in forbidden love, leading her to false accusations and suicide, and ultimately Hippolytus's death. Artemis mourned, but she did not forgive.
Aphrodite, in turn, moquait Artemis à cold and unfeeling, en enemy of nature itself.
She once called Artemis and her maidens flowers that will never bloom. It was a cruel taunt, subtle but sharp, and it only deepened the divide. No thunderous battle ever erupted between them, but the war was waged in silence. One spread chaos through desire. The other upheld order with restraint. Olympus took sides, divided not by swords, but by philosophy, over love and purity, freedom and restraint, womanhood and power. Neither goddess won. Neither lost. But from their conflict, a crack spread across Olympus, between beauty on display and beauty in hiding, between fiery passion and untouched grace.
Olympus, not à heaven, buastage. High above the mortal world, where clouds squall around marble peaks and thunder whisper through sacred hall, lies Olympus, not a paradise, buastage.
A stage where gods were crowns, not to rule in peace, but to play out endless dramas of ambition, pride, and heartbreak. What seemed to the ancients a realm of divine perfection is, in truth, a place of fractures, wounds that never fully close, rivalries that never truly end. On this sacred mountain, no one is completely right, and no one is irredeemably wrong. Each god embodies something greater than themselves.
Poseidon es furie reflect or thirst for power. Hera es jalousie, or wounded dignity. Athena es pride, or obsession with reason.
Aphrodite's beauty, our longing to be desired. Artemis's purity, our need to remain untouchable in a world full of temptation. They are divine, yes. But they lie. They love. They rage. They betray each other. They fall. And sometimes they rise, changed but not cleansed. Olympus is not a perfect realm. It is a mirror.
A magnifié echo of our world below.
Where power brings not peace, but envy. Where love, so pure at first, can become poison. Where even the closest bonds, between husband and wife, sister and brother, mother and child, can shatter in a single breath. What, then, do we learn from the centuries of conflict that echo through Olympus? That even gods are not immune to wounds. That trust, once broken, is harder to rebuild than marble temples. That no throne, no matter how high, stands above the forces of doubt, fear, and grief. And that every shining peak, no matter how divine, can hide deep, silent cracks. Cracks that, if left unspoken, may one day break the mountain itself. Olympus does not offer us perfection. It offers us reflection. In their triumphs, we see our hopes. In their failures, our warnings. In their pain, our truth. Because in the end, the gods do not teach us how to be perfect. They teach us how to endure. How to carry the weight of betrayal, disappointment, and rage. And still rise, with scars, but still standing.